is time for my very first TBR video of 2020, and as I've mentioned before, I am going to be keeping these TBRs quite small to allow myself to branch out if I wish. So I only have 5 books on this TBR that I'm going to tell you about, and the first one, which is a book I have actually already started, is The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 4 in the Mistborn saga, should we call it that? This is the bridge book between Mistborn Era 1 and Mistborn Era 2, and it's set many years, in fact many hundreds of years, after the events of the original trilogy. And I can already see, and I'm only 20 pages in, but it starts on page 15, so I'm 5 pages in, I can already see references to the original trilogy, which I'm really enjoying. And I've spoken about the Mistborn series so many times on my channel that I feel like you're all going to be getting bored of it by now, but it is epic fantasy. It's in a world where the magic system is called allomancy, and it involves the consumption and burning of metals to gain certain abilities. So you can consume and burn steel, and it will allow you to push metals away from yourself, for example, which is particularly interesting in this specific series because we now have guns in this world. So you can imagine what allomancy would look like in a world with guns. And it's only very short. I think it's about 330 odd pages, something like that. 325 pages, so it should be a pretty quick read, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next book I'm going to talk about is a reread, and it is Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider, which is a series that I have read multiple times. We follow a character named Yelena, who is in prison, essentially on death row, and when she is taken to the commander's right-hand man, she believes it is time for her execution, but she's actually offered an alternative. She is told that she can either go ahead and be executed, or she can become the commander's poison taster, responsible for testing all of his food and detecting any poisons, just in case the commander is to get poisoned and killed. And that's all I'm going to say. Absolutely love this series. Finally have copies, which I got for Christmas this year, and I'm really looking forward to reading them. I usually do all of my rereads on audio, but I haven't been able to find audiobooks for this series, so I'm just going to go ahead and read them physically anyway. Then we have our book club book for this month. It is Dracula by Bram Stoker, which is the original vampire story, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think I am going to read and listen to this one just because I haven't read a classic for quite a while. I do like reading classics, but because I haven't read one for ages, and especially because this one is supposed to be quite scary and dense, I am going to help myself out and listen to the audio while I read this, I think. But one of my goals for this year is to try and read more classics, so here we go. Then we have Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, which is the final book in the Folk of the Air series. Book 1 is The Cruel Prince, book 2 is The Wicked King, and then this is book 3. In book 1 we follow a character named Jude, who is human, but she has a half-fae sister. Her half-fae sister's fae father comes to their family home, murders Jude's, I keep wanting to say muggle, human parents, and whisks them all away to the land of fairy, where they grow up. But because she is a muggle, she is mistreated by basically everybody, and she lives in a very cruel world with the fae, and it's a fairly brutal story. Not as brutal as it could be, I don't think, but it's pretty brutal, and this is the conclusion of that story, and so I would like to read it. And then the final book that is on this list is for my local book club, and I'm having real trouble getting hold of a copy of this, but I have managed to find an audiobook through my library, so I will probably read it that way, and it is An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon, which I don't know too much about, but I do know that it's LGBT and it's science fiction, and it involves people travelling on a spaceship across the Gulf of Space, which is a trope that I personally really enjoy. I am a little bit nervous about listening to this one because I feel like it's the kind of book that I would benefit from having a physical copy of. I have managed to find an ebook through Scribed, so it's possible that if I'm struggling with the audiobook, I will listen and follow along using that ebook. I don't know, but I just can't get hold of a copy anywhere. Amazon don't have it, Waterstones don't have it, Foils don't have it, so I'm gonna have to just make do with what I've got. And those are the 5 books that I'm including on my TBR. If you've watched my 2020 goals video, you know that I want to do a dedicated review for at least one of these books, and I want you to tell me which one you would like to see a dedicated review for. So I will put a poll up here with those 5 books for you, and just vote for whichever one you want to see a dedicated review for. Don't worry, I will review all of them in my wrap up anyway, but it will just allow me to prioritise reading one and getting a review up for that particular book. If you have a TBR for January, please let me know what you're planning on reading this month. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks, bye!